Okay, good morning. We have a full capacity crowd this morning, so I'm just going to call this meeting to order of the Planning and Economic Development Committee and ask if there's any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. There being none, this is a statutory public meeting which is being held pursuant to the Planning Act, RSO 1990, to consider an application by Richard Legrow and Karen Baile. Did I pronounce that correct? Baile, thanks. For an application for zoning bylaw amendment 2018-11. The purpose and effect of this application is to amend the zoning bylaw to permit a secondary unit above an accessory building. The subject property is designated prime agricultural area in the region of Durham official plan and zoned rural RU zone in township zoning bylaw number 81-19. The subject property is located between O'Neill Road and Lake Ridge Road, having the municipal address of 807 Ganton Road, and is legally described as Lot 32, Concession 8, Township of Uxbridge. The Planning Act governs the giving of public notice at various steps in the application process which the township must comply with. Any person may attend a public meeting and make representations in response to the proposed development. All information, including personal information, opinions, presentations, reports, etc., provided for or at a public meeting are considered public records pursuant to Section 27 of the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This information may be posted on the Township of Uxbridge website and or made available to the public upon request. Excuse me. Questions about this collection should be directed to the Director of Legislative Services Clerk, Debbie Leroux, at 51 Toronto Street South, Uxbridge, Ontario, L9P1T1, or by calling the Clerk's Department at 905-852-9181, extension 228. The Township often receives requests for notification above and beyond what is required by the Planning Act. The Clerk's Department does not have the resources to respond to these requests, especially where the requests are general in nature. Therefore, if a request for notification is received by the Clerk's Department, they will notify persons as required by the Planning Act. If a person would like to receive notice of an approval, that person must make a request in writing to the Clerk or provide their name and contact information on the request sheet available at this meeting. Persons who make this request will also be notified of any council meeting at which it is proposed that a decision will be made by council on an active matter, and no other notification will be given. The Township has made available other ways in which residents may keep themselves aware of matters being considered by council. These include calling your ward councillor, checking the Township website at www.town.uxbridge.on.ca, by reading committee and council agendas which are available in the Clerk's Department at Town Hall, usually by no later than the Friday prior to a committee or council meeting, or by calling the Clerk's Department to inquire as to the status. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. Any persons wishing to make oral or written submissions on the subject report should give their names, addresses, and postal code to the Clerk and ask their questions through the Chair or file a written submission. So how we'll start this morning is we'll ask the applicant to give us a brief summary of what you're planning to do. We'll then open it up to questions from committee and then from the floor. Okay, so you can choose to sit at the desk or the podium, whichever is easier for you, Richard. It's more informal maybe if you want to sit there. Just move the mic over to you and push the gray button there.
Just want to say good morning.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so our plan with our accessory building, which is our garage, is to finish living space above the garage. It's our home that we've built is our dream home, and this separate garage is my dream garage. It's going to be the man cave. And the man cave, we hope down the road our kids, if they would like to have a head start, can live in this living space. Even though they're with us, it's their own separate space. But the area will be finished with what we would like to finish it with, would be a kitchenette and a bathroom upstairs. And we'd like to put water in the garage area as well. And we have consulted Van Camp Construction, and they have, I'm at a loss, I can't remember the type of system that they said that we're putting in the septic system. It's one that works more efficiently, and it's a smaller bed. Again, I apologize for that. I called this morning to speak to Joel, and I couldn't reach him. But that's basically what we'd like to do with our plan. And the existing building is one that's in place now that was permitted under our application for the construction. So that part is already taken care of. It's just now the finishing of the living space in the upper area of the building. Okay.
Thank you. Open up to questions from committee. Councillor Barton, we'll just go around this way, make it easy.
Yeah, just curious, how many square feet of living space will you end up with when you're...
It'll be...
Okay.
The building itself is about 1,000 square feet. Our way in, because if we do, and we are able to finish it, moving furniture up, the staircase is 5 feet wide. So as it comes up and makes the turn to go up onto the upper level, we're losing out, I would say, to 200 square feet in total.
Okay. I'm totally fine with it. Thanks.
Councillor Bellinger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to you. I'll be quite upfront with you. I checked you out and checked out your building.
Yeah.
I was there last night and early again this morning, and then I went and talked to the building inspector, Brian. My concern was when I went by that this was already done and that you'd put the plumbing in. I was right up front, and I thought, well, you know what? I want to see what permits these people had and whether or not legally they should have been doing this. So what you've said is true. You have not, you've just kind of roughed it in. I guess the question I have, the closeness to the road, I would have thought maybe that would have went back a little farther. Just some thoughts I have. Why did you put in that particular spot?
We originally had it further back.
Yeah, we did. We had it, actually, we were going to put it behind the house.
Yeah.
But then the grading and excavating contractor, Van Camp Construction, said that the position where we wanted to put the garage was where the septic should go.
Okay.
They looked at the land and how everything kind of laid out, and so they changed our original ideas
Okay.
for the location. And what we did is then afterwards, we just looked at centering the garage between the house and the road. So there wasn't an exact measurement as far as, okay, well, we want to put it here. We just looked at the positioning of the house and the road and went midway between the two.
Within the standards of what the regulations.
Yeah, and it's I think it's well beyond the setbacks that are required.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just, when I looked at it, I thought, well, I've got a couple of questions,
Yeah.
and you've answered my questions, and quite honestly, I am very much in favor of these, suites that you can put in, because we have a problem with housing in Uxbridge, and I understand the fact if your family comes home, it's nice to have a place for them to go, so I'm totally in favor, and you followed the guidelines. What you've done is proper. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Beach?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's wonderful what you've done. Questions have already been answered that I had asked. I think it's a great idea because we do need, as Councillor Ballinger said, more housing, in the future. It's nice to have a man cave right now, but if the kids go and then come back, it's nice some place to give them a start. Thank you.
Councillor Rona?
Yeah, I don't have a job here is not to obstruct, but to encourage people to.
Yeah, my question was answered as to why did you locate it where you did, but you mentioned about the septic bed, so I think there may be more questions coming up on that. Just on the access, I know I've been by it, but I haven't been inside your facility there. Is there a two-door in and out, just for fire access, basically, or is it a one?
Have you been by?
I have been. I haven't examined it completely, but I've been by it.
If you're looking at the front with the garage doors,
right.
To the left of the garage door is a man door.
A man door,
and
yeah.
that's where the stairs go up to the landing, turn and go up to the second floor or the level above.
Is there another way out from the upper floor then? Like
the
through a
only
window
way
or?
I think would be to go out on the deck and
on the
maybe
deck. Okay.
A
'Cause
rope
fire
ladder.
may look at that. I don't know if
Yeah.
they've discussed that with you yet, but
Yeah.
it's just, in the odd case that something was going to happen, you need another way out.
On the south side of that building, there's a sliding door.
A sliding door, right.
And that would go out onto a deck.
Okay.
So that
So that might accommodate it, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our son, who is a firefighter with Richmond Hill.
Oh, he is,
He's the
okay.
person that potentially will
So
be
he-
occupying
he
that.
told you
Had
all
the same
about that.
question, said, okay, so I see one, but, so,
Yeah,
definitely
it's,
that.
it's just if it's inhabited, it changes the whole
Absolutely.
dynamic of
Right.
the situation, right?
Liability.
Versus man cave, I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully you can get out of there in a man cave situation. If you're asleep, it's not quite so easy.
We'd like to have them back, but
Any more questions from committee before we open it to the floor?
Thank you. Okay, so is this gonna be like a loft, open, space, or is there gonna be a designated bedroom?
well, there will be a designated, there's actually, we framed it in such a way that would allow for 2 bedrooms.
The plan is.
Okay,
And that's part of the plan that we gave to the building department for the construction. Between the 2 would be the bathroom area, which is about 5 feet wide enough to accommodate a tub, but we're gonna put in a shower. And it would just be the depth, which is roughly 10 feet, maybe 10 to 12 feet at the most, and narrow between the 2 bedrooms that are on the plan.
and is there windows in each bedroom?
There are.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, his
Good to know.
his design.
Well, I'm glad he had that advice, I'll tell you, because
Mhm.
some don't. Anything else from committee? I will open it to the floor. Sir, would you like to step forward and give us your name, address, and postal code?
Yeah, I've already given them to the
Okay.
clerk. I guess I'll go over here this time.
Just for the record, Mr.
My name's Alan Wells.
Mr. Wells. Turn your mic on there, Alan, just push the gray button, there you go.
And that's my wife, Ann Wells. And, we live at, across the road. In fact, the description should actually say part lot 32, concession 8, because the other part of lot 32 is our property, plus we are all of 33. As you know, the 8th concession of Uxbridge is only a quarter of a section, and it's the westerly boundary of lot 32. And you might be interested in knowing that property used to be part of our farm, and Ann's mother sold that to the St. John family about over 50 years ago, I guess. And so the properties south of us, which are currently and have been farmed ever since the township was formed, there's actually 3 lots there, which was all one field. There's the subject lot, a lot below it, which has just been sold as well, and the lot to the west, which one of the St. John's children live on. So, just to set the why we're here, we're the immediate neighbors of the properties, and Rick and Karen have been great neighbors so far, and I hope we've been great neighbors. Although if you drive along our street, you see that the pumpkin man has invaded it last week, and every house on the lot has a giant pumpkin. And don't worry, I'll get rid of them after with my front end loader, because most of them weigh about 100 pounds. So first of all, we're very supportive of the change in bylaws, as Regional Councillor Ballinger mentioned. We think it's a great new concept to open up the rural areas in appropriate ways to provide more housing opportunities. And who knows, I was just talking to my son yesterday, and maybe we'll take advantage of that at one of these days. But I wished you had included in that bylaw more site plan approval control, because as Rick mentioned, the garage, which we thought was 1 story for the first year, because the second floor has only been recently added, is really set back just about, if just over 50 feet, the minimum setback. The house is set back, I would say, at least, I don't know exactly, about 200 feet. And the garage is immediately opposite our house. So on the whole 9 acres, it couldn't be set anywhere to have more impact. than, where it is set, but, the setting of the garage, as mentioned by Rick, conforms to the bylaws. So, we would have been much happier if the, additional building, which is gonna be, as you saw, a very tall two-story building, if it had been complemented the whole site plan, better than it does in our opinion, but it's there, and, I wonder if you, when you reviewed the plans in the first instance, if you knew there was gonna be a second floor and a residence on there, if you might not have suggested within your, control, that it be more appropriately set on the land. And I know the house is set on the highest part of the land, and then it does slope off, and it would have required probably more fill if it had been set closer to the house. So, in summary, we support the bylaw. We support what they're doing in general. We wish that this site had been back further. And I'd also suggest to members of council, as stated by the councillor from Ward 2, that your job is to not get things done and not approve. Your job is also to ensure the rules and bylaws of the township are adhered to, and also protect the other residents of the township. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. No, it's okay. You're good. Seeing as there's no one else, I'm going to give 14 days for further comments, in case there's someone that wanted to be here today that couldn't make it for whatever reasons. Any persons who want further notice of the passage of a bylaw should give their full name, address, and postal code to the clerk prior to leaving the meeting today. Is there any other business? There being none, I will adjourn, and thank you all for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.